Hi everyone, welcome back. And today we are with Hardik here, and we are currently running hack. Okay, you go on. Hardik, please carry on. Oh, unmute yourself and talk.
Okay, I'm sorry. So we are live right now. Great.
Hacking Heist.
So let me just do a few things in the yeah. So hello everyone. My name is Hardik Kumar, and I have with us Praveen Kumar. And today we are going to talk about open source and career in the Hacking Heist 2.0. Yeah. So for those who don't know about Hacking Heist, so let me just tell you about that. So Hacking Heist 2.0 is a virtual 36-hour virtual hackathon that's going to be next month on June 24th to 26th of June. So if you haven't registered till now, go ahead and register at hackingheist.study. Apart from that,
all the links
apart from that, okay. Now we are also do giveaways during the session, right? So in between the session, just go ahead and take a screenshot anytime between the session and go ahead and tag Praveen and Hacking Heist, and any one of you will be getting a super exciting giveaway from our side. Okay.
Not only that, those people who are asking really awesome questions on my channel. So we are actually streaming in both the channels of Hacking Heist and as well as my channel. So those people, I guess Hacking Heist is also sponsored by my MLH, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, along with that, I do have a lot of MLH goodies to give away. So don't miss it. There are like so many here. So I'm also happy to send over to a couple of people who are choosing randomly, and those people who are tagging me, Praveen Science, and tagging Hardik, and also tagging the Hacking Heist team in Twitter, LinkedIn, whichever social network you want to tag. Even GitHub is okay. So because it's all about GitHub right today. So that's going to be very interesting. And since both of us are from MLH, Hacking Heist team, MLH is sponsored a webinar, hackathon, and myself, I'm also a part of MLH. So great, this is going to be interesting. So today we will be looking through a lot of things about getting yourself a career in open source. I know Eddie has talked a lot about this, but Eddie, hi, are you still there? Right. So Hardik, go on. What is going to be the plan today?
Okay, so we'll be talking about open source and how you can, like, we will start with how open source works. I have a lot of questions to ask from Praveen. So if you have also different questions about open source as a beginner, you can ask that too. So yeah,
also ask all the questions on the chat box so that I will choose a couple of people and then I'll definitely give you some goodies as well. Hey, by the way, I wanted to also tell all these the graphics that you see in my YouTube video, it is done by Joshit, and Joshit is also in the chat. Hi Joshit, nice to meet you here. Cool.
Hi, Joshit.
Right, go on, start with your stuff, man, so that based on that we will go ahead. And I did also prepare a couple of things to talk about open source and career. So to get yourself a great career using open source, that's going to be really cool. So go on. Who wants to start first?
Okay, so let me start with a simple question, the open source thing. So what exactly is open source, and what are these open source projects really are?
Okay, since we don't have a girl in the audience right now, I'm going to take Joshit as another person and along with we both. So let's say, who wants to be the top first ranking person or first bencher here? I'm a backbencher. What about you?
I am a backbencher.
You are also a backbencher. So let's make Joshit, because he did this awesome design, very cool. So he is the first bencher. You are middle bencher and I am a backbencher. And then we get a small problem. Not exactly a problem, because school nale problem. Then school the teacher was going to come and then gives an assignment. That assignment, Joshit takes it and immediately completes it. And since Joshit is our close friends, we three are super close people, he shares the assignment with us and we all get 90 marks. Thanks, Joshit. But the problem here is, for an instance, I'm kind of like very curious on what Joshit has written. And I saw that there are a couple of changes that can be made. So what I do is I take a Xerox copy of Joshit's assignment and then make some changes, and boom, I go and submit it without the knowledge of Joshit, and I get like 92 marks. Being a good friend of Joshit, what I did is I took my assignment and told Joshit that, dude, see, you have got a couple of changes and you can make your assignment more better. And you know about Joshit, he's awesome. He's like super brilliant. So what he does is he makes another new assignment and shares it with all of us. We all turn it in, boom, 95 marks. So what do you see from this? You tell me.
Like, are you asking me?
Yeah, you are the only person here, man.
Okay, let's see. So, okay, we are like adding all of our marks, and then like
no, not adding all our marks. So it's, see, don't take the negative side of things, and also don't do this in a real classroom because it is not allowed. But with this scenario, what good things that you see?
What good things do I see? Like I can say teamwork.
Nice. Okay, then.
Apart from teamwork, what can I say? I can't think too much. So
others in the chat who wants some goodies, please answer it as well.
Okay, so someone said teamwork in the chat.
Damn, seriously, Joshit is the person who is mostly absent, it seems. No, bro, you are absent and you are doing always all the creative stuff. Okay, so you are the great. So Tejas also has got nice questions. Tejas, I'll come to your question soon. Thank you, Tejas, for coming in as well. Yeah, okay, so I would say, number one, obviously finding fault, not exactly finding fault, but finding any errors very simply in a simple way, and then people can easily change them and improve their software, improve their code, improve their product or something like that, improve their work. So that is one thing. Second thing is you're sharing with others. Like this guy, useless guy, Praveen, he has done nothing, but he just got Joshit's 90% of work and he made it a little bit better to make it 92%. And then Joshit again made it 95% good, right? So a person who is as useless as Praveen can also become one of the most, like the catalyst for making it 95%. So that is possible. And other things, teamwork and collaboration, as Abhik says, good. These answers are really good. So these are the things. Now, if we kind of like replace everything, sorry, Joshit and Hardik, bye-bye. So it's going to be me being me. And instead of Joshit, what we can replace him with is, I know Joshit might like Microsoft and Windows products, etc., because he uses Photoshop a lot, maybe? No? Whatever. So Joshit is Microsoft. And the teacher who came is the developer community, who were, the assignment was, we need a nice, awesome open source IDE. And Joshit, Microsoft created Visual Studio Code, and as a developer, I downloaded Visual Studio Code and I found some issues in that. So what I did is I Xerox copied Joshit's assignment. I forked Microsoft's VS Code and then I made some changes and I requested Microsoft to pull my code changes. That's called pull request, forking, and whatnot. Now, did you understand what exactly open source is? How was that story?
So it was very great, sir. I never heard of any kind of story like this before. So yeah, it's really interesting. Okay, so okay, can you differentiate between an open source and a closed source project?
In simple terms, if you don't give the source code outside, or if you don't plan to release the source code for others to reuse and without for free, then it is closed source. Otherwise, it is open source.
Okay, so like for a beginner who just like someone in a college trying to build a simple application or a website, so like if they want to create a project, an open source project, what are the criteria for that? Like basically, a project is there, and
basically you start with learning a new language. You need to learn any kind of a programming language. It could be anything. Don't say HTML is a programming language. I'm gonna kill with CSS. Right. So learn a programming language. It could be JavaScript, could be Java. I hate Java. It could be Python. It could be Ruby, something like that. And if you want to work with the user interface and have a beautiful life, learn HTML and CSS and integrate JavaScript with it for the functionality, and then bring out something. You are kind of like providing a solution to a problem. So that can be in any medium, of course. Like it could be an Android application, it could be an iOS application, it could be a web application, it could be a command line application, anything. So ultimately you are giving the solution. So that's exactly is what needed. And then once you create that, see, basically, you know how for loops works, you know how variable declarations work. Just put those knowledge into action. That is what your skills are. And most of the recruiters look for the skills, right? So that exactly is what open source kind of like helps you bring out. So for example, we people are like curious to do something, but in my workplace, I won't get to do something like crazy enough, like getting a lot of things, because I was working for a bank. No more I'm working. I'm unemployed right now, by the way, for the record. And coming back to my thing later. So that's being curious makes try to make something out. So in case if you're working in a company and if they have got this non-disclosure agreement and other things, it is very hard to prove to the recruiters or prove to the outside world that you are good to do. You have done a lot of things outside, inside your work. How would you say that outside? You cannot say that outside. But open source will bring you out all these things. So now we are going to look at all these things in a career perspective in very detailed way. That is what we are going to do. And we will also answer Tejas Berry's question as well. So what are your top 3 advice for people who want to jump into open source as well? So in a nutshell, I have answered it. Learn a language, find a project that works out for you, understand the project, start working on the project, request the other person or the project maintainer to accept your changes, to fix something or enhance something like that. That is something which I would say for you, Tejas. Was it helpful?
Yeah, that's a very great advice for a beginner to start with. The main thing, the main problem that I have observed in the beginner open source, the person who is trying to contribute to the open source, it doesn't able to find a proper projects to contribute to. Even if he finds someone, if he or she finds someone, like it's very large project to contribute to. So
correct. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start with the basic crux of our topic today. Okay, so how exactly open source is going to help us out in the career, and in few seconds your question will also be answered. And also Tejas has got this awesome question. I'll first answer his question because I know even if I don't answer your question, you won't be hating me. You're my friend. So I'll speak to Tejas first. So Tejas asks, is there any protocol to be followed when we fork or copy an open source project? I would say yes and no, because it is open source. It is like I can call your name as Tejas or Tejas or anything. It's like the pronunciation, right? So similarly, open source, there are like multiple ways you can connect with the project or like contribute to the project. Number one could be like, there is a Git flow that people generally follow, including me. What I do is I first fork the project. That's the first step, like Xerox copy of the project where you have got complete control over it. And then you open up a feature branch, that is a branch separate to the main or master where you want to put your changes in. And then you start changing all the files, creating small commits. I changed this file. I made this thing optional. I made this fix or something like that. So make small changes, bunch them and create a pull request, and then send the pull request to the original repository. And that way it will be very easy for them to go through the commits and see, okay, this is what is done. And as a whole, this is what is fixed. That way the maintainer will also be able to clearly read what you have done, understand what you have done, and then they will approve it. And then your first open source contribution is there. Got it? So Tejas, was that helpful? All right. So now what we are going to do is we will go with the usual flow. So the first thing which I wanted to say is, even I have been recruiting candidates for a couple of years. Yes, hi, we are recruiting. So if you want to talk to me later, my details are in the thing. And I mean, like my details are everywhere. Just search for this guy called Praveen Kumar Purushothaman. Okay. So the way job recruitment works has changed. Your skills are more far valuable than degrees, right? To measure the fit of the applicants, the recruiters will mainly look into 3 things, let's say. Okay. even me, I would say I would be a technical recruiter in this case. Okay, so that way I would look at your problem solving skills, the variety of backgrounds and industries that you have worked with, and also the experience. Experience matter nothing. Okay, and woo, Eddie is here. Eddie, I'm stealing your topic, man. So that's nice. Eddie, it's about like open source and careers and how you can get a nice career in open source and how open source is going to help you in the careers. And this is really cool and nice to see Eddie on the screen as well. So sorry, on the chat as well. So everyone say hi to Eddie. Eddie is one of the GitHub stars, and he has been like literally everywhere. He's one of the he's my guru in simple terms. He's my bro. He's my guru and. Thank you, Tejas as well for that. Such a nice one. Is there any cost associated with being an open sourcer? Zero, except your time. Your time matters a lot, and your experience. You are sharing your experience. You are multiplying your experience. That is something which I would like to say. Coming back to what I was telling. So these three things: problem-solving skills, the variety of backgrounds that you have worked with, variety of industries. For example, if you take me, I have worked with more or less the fintech companies and then gaming companies. So if you ask me, okay, who's this Praveen and what he has done so far, he has been working as a full stack developer in almost a lot of fintech banks, in investment banking companies and insurance, etc., etc. So almost a lot of things are fintech, and one or two I have worked with gaming and healthcare, as well as I guess I have also worked with the government stuff. So this would be my experience. Like this is the portfolio. So the backgrounds matter a lot. And also the recruiter needs to know whether you have got a relevant expertise with the skill set that is given in the job profile as well. So let's say, let's take Hardik itself. Hardik, what is your best coding language that you say you're good with?
I'm good with Dart. I do Flutter a lot, so I'm good with that.
So Hardik is very good in mobile application development with Dart and Flutter. What I'm doing is I'm going to get on a call with Hardik and brainwash him and make him a web developer. So let's say if he's currently a Flutter Dart developer and he wants to work with web, I would have said some he has taken some courses from me, maybe got some certificates from me, which doesn't matter anyway. So now he has to prove his experience, and only the courses and certifications will not do that. So that's the main part I'm trying to say. So now when what happens is, like, people who are technical recruiters or the technical leads who will actually interview screen your profile, they will also see, okay, this guy has got a GitHub profile, or this guy has got a Stack Overflow profile. Let's see Hardik's GitHub profile. So looking at it, a lot of web development projects are there and they are like absolutely awesome. So those are things that the recruiters will actually look at. And nice. Tejas asked, can you please recommend us a few open source communities where grooming is encouraged? Eddie, I would like you to answer this because Eddie Hub is one of the most inclusive and awesome communities I have ever seen. I'm also a part of Eddie Hub, but unfortunately, due to my work pressure, I had to step down from moderator to be a community member. So Eddie will be able to explain a lot. But at the same time, if for those people who are women in tech, you can join me in Cats in Tech. So I have got this awesome community as well. And there are like so many hackathons going on, which are powered by MLH, like Hacking Heist. And how good are your mentors, Hardik?
You are one of the mentors, so everyone can expect a lot of good things from you too.
There you see, there you go. So that's how you get to know a lot of hackathons that are going on around, and open source is really cool in this way. And one more thing I would say is contribute to a great open source project. Although it is pretty difficult, I would say a couple of projects that you can contribute. I have never contributed on these things except React. So Mozilla has got this Firefox browser that is open source. Electron is one of the cross-platform applications for JavaScript and other things. So it is written in C++. Those people who want to support people like me in JavaScript, you who are a C++ developer can help me with building Electron. Sinatra there is one more framework. It's a Ruby micro framework for the web. So those people who are still alive, Ruby on Rails, you can try using Sinatra as well, like try to contribute to Sinatra. Then How many lamp stack people are there? I'm also there. Don't throw stones at me. PHP MyAdmin and Adminer are really, really cool projects that are written in PHP, which gives a web interface for MySQL and MariaDB. MariaDB is like a fork of MySQL again. So for the database enthusiasts, this might also give a nice introduction to the backend side of things. And then Elasticsearch. This is one of the most powerful search engines, which is written in PHP again. And for those people who are very much like you call yourselves super techie, right? Vim users. There is this project called as NeoVim, which is the future of Vim. So you can also use work on something like that. So these are a couple of projects that are like, you know, if you want to become overnight like Obama, you can actually do all these things. And Tejas, why am I unemployed at the moment? Because I'm going to join as an associate director in another company. So I'll tell soon. Okay. Nice. All right. So coming back to, again, like, thanks Tejas for asking that question. The next thing which I'm going to talk about is company targeted contributions. So there are like contributions that are done by users, right? Now we will talk about the company contributions. Like, how many of you know Chromium? Not Chrome, Chromium.
I know about that, but I never used it. I've never used it.
So back in those days when Chrome was unstable, yes, you heard me right. Chrome was unstable on Linux back in those days. At that time, Chromium was the only thing that was very much stable, and it provided a lot of support for the Linux users like Ubuntu and other things. So in that case, Chromium is the original Chrome in this one. So we were using Chromium for all these things, and that project has been upgraded, and Google Chrome has used almost a lot of things from that. So simply put, Google Chrome is the official thing that is powered by Chromium, which even Google accepts it. So Chromium is also funded and powered by Google Chrome. Oh, by the way, you can also earn through open source. If you do something really cool, like for example, two things I can tell. Number one is like, two examples I can tell. Number one is obviously Chromium. When we are talking about, it is being funded by a lot of people now, including Google, because they did one of the best browsers in the world. And now Google Chrome is like exact Xerox copy of Chromium. It's like 99% the same. And then if you come to Microsoft, they absolutely ripped off this one as well, right? So Microsoft Edge is now Chrome, right? So there is no difference. So something that started as an open source application, now it is being used by literally, so Microsoft has got like what, almost 100% share of all the Windows and things. Now no one is going to download Chrome because we have already Chrome installed in Microsoft itself. They made some small tweaks, like saying like, please subscribe for me, Microsoft, like that and all. So, hey, subscribe to this button as well. And something like that. So coming to that way, one single open source project has revolutionized the whole thing. That is one of the company stuff that happened. And the other thing which I would say is, how many of you have played Wordle? It just started as a simple, it's not open source. I'm not sure whether it is open source or not, but this is some example that I wanted to say. Some developer who wants to get excited during the pandemic, he created a small game for himself because it is based out of his name, Joseph Wardle. Wardle is his name. So Wardle created Wordle, and then he got like 500 million or what, some $1 million from the New York Times, correct? So that way I would say like, whoa, this is one of the best ways to earn something when you are into open source, or whether or not you're into open source, but if you're into coding, this might happen. This guy, what he did is he made some kind of like instant viral hit of this game or something like it. But this is not the case with all of us. It's not most of the cases. So in case if you're in open source, the publicity will be higher. The virality might go higher. So if at all this guy had made it into open source, maybe he might not have received the money, but he might have received 10 times the money, because obviously if people are using an open source product for their commercial purposes, they might look at the license, and then if there is a commercial license involved, they would be happy to shell out money on that, right? So that's something which I wanted to say here. So wow, there are like so many chat messages now. Becoming hey Joshit, in Chennai, in what do you say, in India, in South India, in Tamil movies, overnight la Obama is one of the most common phrases for becoming viral overnight. So right. So that is one thing. And coming to the large scale projects contribution, how many of you have heard of this Rocket Chat? Okay, if you have not heard of Rocket Chat, definitely you have heard of Django, right? So Django is a Python web framework. Rocket Chat is an open source Slack, you can call, and Ruby on Rails. Obviously, a lot of people might have worked 100 years before. So these three things are also open source. And I mean, when I say Ruby on Rails, even Java is open. Java, is it open source yet? I'm not sure. So even PHP is open source. Ruby on Rails is open source. I guess JavaScript, you can actually contribute to the JavaScript core as well. So if you want to create a totally programming language, even that is possible. Recently, Rajini++ has also come up, which gives a tough to the boylang.js. So Rajini++, I guess it was written in Python, I believe. So that's something which actually enhances your how should I say, what you are like. If you join a lot of people in the company side of things, that will help. Now coming to the main part, build a side project. So take me. We are all the developers like us are curious people. We like to do different things. I'm as curious as a cat. So in case if you are liking to do, okay, you are in the office, you imagine that this particular thing can be done in a different way, but you don't have the opportunity to do it because you are bound by the rules of the company. You are bound by non-disclosure agreement. You are bound by this. For those people who have seen WebSense proxy, in case if you are in the working area, so you are bound by like github.com blocked by WebSense, blocked by your proxy or something like that. For those people, what you can do is you can go home during your free time. Obviously family is important, your health is important. During your free time, when you get some time, you can start working on your own personal project. When you think that you want to do something nice, okay, maybe we can do it better, build it. So, and once you build it, put it on the open source. Once you put it on the open source, you can get feedback from the community and improve it upon. Like a lot of things could be improved on this. And one thing which I wanted to tell you is, there are technical recruiters like me who will be able to check your project, your coding style, and also the decisions you have taken in your side job. For example, if you take this particular creating this project or something, like, let's consider this as a side job. If I look at your like the Git history and stuff like that, I could see how your thinking is, and I might even say, hey, Hardik, would you like to come in for a namesake interview, and I want to get you into my team because I like your coding style and I have seen your projects, and I would like literally take it 10,000 rupees increment. So those kind of things happen to me as well. So that is one thing. And Tejas, I understand this question could be like, you're asking the wrong person, because I kind of like messed up with my priorities, how to find time to build side project if you are into full-time job. I'm into full-time job. At the same time, you won't be like, building, working for the company like every single second or millisecond, right? So you might get an idea, maybe on a Sunday morning, half an hour you can spend, or while you go home, or during that 10 minutes break or something like that. If you want to just open your computer and try to do something, I guess your manager will not be sad about this or disappointed about this, because that has got a lot of good things. Okay, let me say, if a technical recruiter is you are in an interview, and understand the difference between, with Python and sklearn, I have built a machine learning model that predicts rental houses prices in my neighborhood. If you say this, and instead, if you say, I've been studying machine learning and for like 10 months or X months, which person would you consider? Like, Hardik, what do you say? Do you think the person who says the first sentence will be considered, or I have been studying machine learning for some months, or which one would be considered?
If, of course, more with the person with the more experience will be considered.
Exactly. So people actually look at the fact that you can build things from the ground up and what tools that you are using. So that makes more sense than anything. So that's something which I would like to say, Tejas, as well. So we have to make time for that, and that will actually help us all. Like managing time. prioritizing things will get you in a different level, because obviously that is one of the most important responsibilities of a project leader or a leader in simple terms, right? So coming back to what we are working on, like for example, let's talk about creating open source and contribution and other things. You will be building a personal brand. For example, if you go to my GitHub profile, it has got literally everything. So when you start contributing to open source projects, you actually build an online reputation. So who is this Hardik? Who is this Praveen? Everyone will be able to look up to you, and we can also gives an added trust, right? Like you can do what you say. Like for example, I'm a full stack developer. Yeah, here's the proof. Look at all my contributions and other things. Also, having an online presence on Stack Overflow can help you land some jobs. So not only the jobs that you are getting interviewed, at the same time, Stack Overflow had something called as Stack Overflow jobs. Right now it is killed. But through that, I got 2 job opportunities in London, which was super cool, right? So during my college time when I was studying, they called up for me. I was just called in for 1 week time because I had only that 1 week of holidays, and they said like your Stack Overflow contributions were excellent. So why don't you come and work on this? This is something which we are struggling for it. We'll pay you for your travel, accommodation and everything. That was my first ever time. I went to a UK county where I have got literally nothing. I traveled myself. They spent for all the travel and other things. I was given a almost 3-star accommodation and full free food. Then traveling is also free. I was like looking at all the different places. Fun part was I was in Surrey walking. That is where Harry Potter house was also there. They even sponsored me for a Harry Potter house trip, but unfortunately I had to go out of come to India during that time. Unfortunately, I missed that. But look at the perks that you receive. But to be honest, all the 3 courses they were feeding me like literally nice. So that was really cool. And the one more thing which I would say is when you are building in open source, this shows that you are also caring for the community and also willing to help other developers. So these are a couple of things which I would like to also mention. And yes, coming to another question that people might have. How to identify and stay away from fake mentors on social media? That's it depends on. Okay, that's a tricky question. Like how to identify fake people, how to identify fake friends or fake promises. Even I have been lured into a lot of people getting money from me and not returning it. The only thing I did is like after this, I will say I will not give any money for anyone, including my friends and family. That is what. To that level, I have been pushed to. Unfortunately, it is happening in the world. We don't know who will behave like what. I don't have an answer for that. But for considering fake mentors, if the mentor is not able to help you in certain parts, just ignore and move away. Maybe they will be either they are busy or whether it could be not the right time. So I would say don't ignore it. And it's a tricky question, man. It's a very tricky question to answer. Maybe
I'm not able to get I'm not able to get what is fake mentor is. Like, can you explain that to me?
Yeah, I mean, I do have the question, but something that doesn't add it to up. Like, for example, let's say, hey, Hardik, just come to my home for like 2 days. I will teach you React completely. But after the 2 days, you are not able to learn anything, or I did not teach you React, but instead we were just doing Netflix and chill. Then this guy is a fake mentor, right? I don't know.
Okay. But in this case, the mentor is asking for the person to get mentorship, right? So, like if a person is looking for a mentor, he should see their experiences too, right?
Yeah, that could be true. And also one more thing is, obviously, almost all these people are busy in their daily lives. We should also think about in that sense as well. Maybe if the person is not able, okay, for a good mentor, what the person should say is, in case if you don't have the time to spend, please be outrightly say that I know it is hard to say no, but just tell them that you don't have time, or you won't be able to. I've been getting a lot of messages, please help me on that, this and etc. But unfortunately, on that same day I would be on a holiday. I try to explain them like very politely and patiently. I'm in this place at least for 5 days. Don't disturb me. I'll be back in four days, and one day I'll try to sit and look into what all things that I need to do. How should I answer this person, that person, that person? Like I would have got at least like 12 messages from 12 different people saying like I want to help on this. So at least for that time I'll have one day of cushion time, try to analyze and understand, okay, these are the things I should do. As mentioned, I'll use the Google Calendar, set up a time aside for mentoring other than your family time and work time. It might be worth, you can also do this during your lunch time at your work, if things are working for you, because I did that way. And my managers were like, wow, dude, you are doing this as well. Please do it for our thing. They made it commercially here. They started giving me like more salary on this. Praveen, you do it this internally so that we will also pay like 10% extra for every session that you conduct. Hey, where and all you're making money now. So that was my first intention, and this is one way of like doing things. So these are a couple of tips for the mentors in case if you are struggling to handle a lot of people who are asking questions, because most of the people when I tried to reach out to them, I was not able to get a good answer from them. So that is the main reason I'm being a lot more accessible to a lot of people. And then if there are like people who are asking any questions, I'll be like, hey, yeah, this is what you need to do and stuff like that. So that's about
talking about my experience in the open source community. I haven't seen any fake mentors, like they are giving me wrong advices to do something. I might not get any response from them either, or I get a good response from them. I have never got any like bad response from that, like do something, like anything that is not helpful to me. So I haven't seen that in the open source community. So yeah. And if you are looking for like open source mentors, you can definitely go for Praveen and Eddie. So they are the best mentors for.
One thing which I would like to say is when since we are talking in this topic, so it is worth noting that there are like fake internships that ask you to pay. They are not internships; they are training courses, by the way. Okay, so ask them to like change the name. Instead of telling internships, make it like training courses, because when you are the one who is paying, then it is not a internship. Internship is like you are the one who is getting paid, right? So internship is something like you are going to put your skills to work and you would be paid for that, either 0 rupees or like something that you are getting paid. It should be you getting paid, not you paying the others. So those people from V to O, if you know who I'm talking, change your name to internships to trainings. Right. So coming back to our topic, so we have built a personal brand. This is what you need to do first, and then when you're actually in the job interviews, try to mention that open source projects that you have done during the interview. So let's say, like similar, let's take Hardik's example. So he's going to apply for web developer role, but he has been doing a lot of Flutter and Dart. So the recruiters might ask, why are you doing this? And not, so the answer for this question is not that the technology that you use is that important, but to understand how you have learned the specific language if you have never worked it before. So it doesn't matter how you learned it, but what matters is whether you have got the right skills or not. That can be seen through your GitHub contributions or any other contributions, not specifically GitHub, even Stack Overflow contributions. If you are answering any question in Stack Overflow, that is considered open source as well. So in simple terms, the next steps are go ahead, create a GitHub account. If you don't have, choose a project that you can, so that you can help or create your own project, have your first pull request merged, and hooray. That's the best way which I could say that you can start with your open source contribution and open source stuff. And only 2 viewers. Who wants the swag now? I want someone to talk something right now. So that's a couple of things that I wanted to mention when it comes to like the open source stuff and other things. there is still more to discuss. Hardik, you are like frozen, mind blank, cha.
Yeah. So if they don't have any questions, I have a lot of questions to ask. Right. So like one of the questions is like, if a project is the open source, like it's from the perspective of a beginner hacker who is trying to get in the field of open source. Okay. So let's say a project is an open source project, so anyone can see the code, right? So there's a huge problem of getting that code copied. So how do the maintainers prevent that from that to happen?
So for the maintainers to make sure the code quality is good, then they have
not the code quality, but how do they prevent the code to be copied and let's say VLC media players in open source project, right? So their code can be copied and like a similar product can be made and
that's what is open source all about. So you are letting the whole world to copy it, yeah, with your consent. So whoever can, so whenever any open source license is used, you are giving the permission to freely use it, distribute it, put it in your commercial code, like make money out of your code where you get nothing. You might request them to like give some credits, like say that this code was inspired from this, or this code was literally copied from this. You can put that, but unfortunately, that is what you consent to. So you want the world to use your code without, like, that is something that you are like, you want to do it for the community.
Okay. And like, what is the importance of the license that GitHub repos have, that MIT license, Apache license? So what are those?
So when it comes to like the similar example, when some big company who wants to make money out of VLC, they try to take the code and they do something. But if the VLC code uses, let's say, MLC instead of GNU GPL license, it would be much restrictive license where the companies cannot see. We will not be affected as a developer or as a student who learns to code or who wants to use VLC or who wants to make some changes in the VLC code will not be affected. But the company who is going to use it, they cannot use it that in that wrong way. So if they are going to be using it in the wrong way, or like ripping off the whole code, like just copying, pasting everything, and then they are making money out of it. And if someone finds it out, obviously, they used to say in Tamil, "Palanal thirudan ornal agapaduvan," which means it is not a theft, or like it is not a theft until you get caught, right? Something you can also say that way. So people steal code, but if someone finds out that they are making money by using a wrong license, they will get sued 100 times more than that. So instead of going for that risk, they can better just stick to the license, just give a small credit saying that everything belongs to Hardik or something like that.
Okay, got it. So now, as we are also talking about careers, so let's say let's say Joshit. Take an example of Joshit. There's an open source contributor, and now he don't want to like do a job. He really likes to do open source projects and contribute to it. So how can he like earn money through that?
So earning money is not the only thing that open source is going to help you. So there are a lot of things that can enhance a software engineer's career. So for example, if Joshit does that, so first thing is it improves the coding skills of him, and then he can gain early experience often required by companies for employment. For example, let's say there is this new Dart or Flutter is going to come into the market. There is new server-side language called Go that is going to, turn the whole thing around. So those kind of things, Joshit can immediately pick it up and then start working on it. So the company also trusts that, okay, this guy has already worked couple of weeks comparing to other candidates. This guy has worked in front of us. Let him take us. Let us take him, something like that, and increase the community and peer recognition. So out of the 10 people, Joshit stands out. Okay, this guy has got so many badge 1, badge 2, badge 3, something like that, and he might also be able to find greater job prospects. So something like looking at the code, like whenever you try to put Golang, like if you put .go file or something like that, your project will definitely come in the very less number of Go files that are available in the complete GitHub repository. So people can identify you. Oh, wow, you have worked on this work. Come in, we would like to ask you for a favor. Would you be able to fix this thing on Stack Overflow maybe? And Joshit goes and answers it on Stack Overflow. The whole company knows about him. And incidentally, Joshit also applies to that company. Immediately things will be great. Or if he doesn't apply, they might also reach out to him, like how a lot of recruiters are reaching out to me. And then I would say that, okay, these are the couple of things that I have been working on. And I'm very much confident in that. So that way, he will be able to find greater job prospects. Not only that, it will also aid him in salary negotiations as well. Look at my credentials. You can see that talks behalf of me. And then this person or like others, I don't think they have got this kind of a thing. You can have this kind of like a negotiation there. I don't want anyone to be rude on the salary negotiations, but just put the facts in front and also improve the software on a user and business level. For example, Joshit has also worked with a lot of different communities. He has been the best designer ever I have seen. A lot of designers I have worked with, and one of the best is Joshit. And he also takes in my inputs and other things. That way, it makes him as a better developer, better person, so that skills can be put on to the business, or like that is going to help the business, rather than a person who is fresh out of the college who has got like literally 100 of 100 marks, and Joshit has got only 95 marks. They would prefer Joshit for the 100% person.
Okay. So yeah, most of the things that like open source happens in GitHub, right? So we code and we contribute to the open source project. So like I have a question out of GitHub. Okay, just doubt from my side only.
I have one question to ask you, Hardik, because this is a question from Tejas. Are recruiters in India smart enough to understand the open sources and shortlist them? Personally, I feel no. Even here in a lot of Indian companies that I have worked for, including this big company I worked for like very recently as a vice president of software engineering, they don't understand what open source is. I'm in a British company, by the way. So they don't understand what open source is. They don't understand. A lot of recruiters, they don't understand. Like when I say that I have contributed to the React source code, and even if I say that if anyone who is working on React, like your company is completely working on React, whatever you are doing, you are taking my code, you are using my code. Like that, even if I say that, they don't understand. Unfortunately, that is the current scenario, but things will become better. And how is the scenario in India? Will the recruiters really understand the worth of people like us?
I guess that I really think it's really strange for me if someone don't understand open source and they are in the technical field. So yeah, in India there's very like a large of awareness about open source with the recruiters also. So if you tell about you have like your value definitely increases if you say you have worked on different open source projects. So yeah, that's the case in India.
Some people are afraid about it as well. Like, okay, this guy is doing a lot of.
You are not audible. Yeah, now you're. Yeah.
Some people are also afraid of this because, like, you are doing a lot of things outside the work. We are concerned about your work timings and what if you do outside. Those people, please reject them. Okay. And one more thing which Avik says is showing open source project details in CV. Is it helping to get job? Most probably yes. Even if it doesn't, it adds some value comparing with this particular project person's CV that doesn't have any projects listed, whereas your CV that has got a couple of projects listed and that is accessible to the recruiters in case if they have the knowledge to click on it and see it. I believe a lot of people are also understanding, yeah, there is something called as GitHub, there is something called as open source, and there is something called as YouTube where people are actually not just watching cat videos or any other videos, but also people are like trying to teach others. So things are going in the right direction very slowly. In India, it is going in the snail level slow, but things are going good, I believe. I'm not in India.
And also like, and also if you're like adding your own project in the in your resume, that's good. But if you're adding an open source contribution to your project, that's on your resume, that's adds a greater value to it as you have contributed to others projects also, like definitely a large project. So yeah, that's that. Yeah. Okay. I was asking about a question out of GitHub. So like there is a, like as you said, Joshit is a like great designer. So I was thinking about open source in designing. So in Canva, if you see, like Canva doesn't make all the designs that Canva has. So there are people who design and upload it there, and Canva like sees it and
You can say like Canva
add it to their project, right?
You can see that
again, I
Canva
can't
is
hear
like
you.
a marketplace.
Hello?
Can you hear me? You can say
Yeah,
that Canva
yeah.
is like a marketplace.
Okay, so can I call it also an open source project as the people are adding their designs? No,
But you cannot
it's just
change
a,
that.
like random thought.
It's see free software versus open source software. There is a huge difference. Things that you get for free, I don't think they are open source. But all the open source are free for the fact.
Okay, I got it. Yeah. Great. So yeah, that's all from the from my side. Okay. And yeah, and there's one thing that's GitHub has introduced a few days back. That's GitHub sponsors. Would you like to tell more about that?
Sure, I totally forgot about it. You can earn through GitHub, but first thing, make some awesome projects and try to put it in the eyes of Eddie, me, and other people who will be able to support your projects. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position to support financially, but definitely I'll be able to support in other ways possible. And Eddie has been sponsoring a lot of projects. There are a lot of people who are in the open source world, they are sponsoring projects. GitHub sponsors, once you get it enabled, people can just go ahead and donate you. It is completely free in the sense GitHub will not take any money out of it. So it's like a charity. Like if you donate for a charity in India, I guess under section 80C or 80G, all your donations are tax free, right? Similar to that, if I send 100 rupees to you, okay, your project looks really awesome. I want to support you. I want to send 100 rupees to you. You will get the entire 100 rupees from me. So whatever I spend, you would be getting it completely. So that is about GitHub sponsors. You have to request for enabling it. And for that, you have to show some nice, good, awesome projects. So all the best. Try to share your, like a lot of things in the projects and other things. So this is gonna help out. And Tejas has got another question. Usually the PR approvals on big open source projects take long time. Any way to avoid it? Unfortunately, no, because my request for pull request on React.js documentation took me 2 months. So just for a documentation, just for a very small, very simple grammatical change, it took 2 months. Then think about others. So if you are like trying to change the core of jQuery or core of Google Chrome, which is being used by millions of people, it takes at least a year to approve. But obviously, if someone who is in the core team sees that it is really good, it is really very important or very quick to add, and it's perfectly reviewed, it's pakka, then they will do it quickly. It helps to another community member, so the opportunity is huge as well. Yes, that's correct. Cool. I have got a lot of things more to talk about, but unfortunately, I guess we don't have the time. We need to wrap it up in 5 minutes. So, yeah, anything else from you, Hardik?
I guess that's it from my side too. Yeah. So if I don't think any questions in the chat, so yeah.
No questions in the chat. All the questions have been answered. And yeah, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on my channel and their channel as well. So support us, support me.
One last question I got. So let's say someone, let's say I upload a open source project on GitHub, right? And I am very new to this field, okay? And a person, very experienced person, adds some code to my project. Let's say a website, add some code to my project. The code I didn't understand, but it makes my project to a next level. So, like, is it necessary to understand the whole code as a maintainer, or it's
if you are a maintainer, then yes, you need to know what the code is doing. You don't know what if you accept the code blindly and it kind of like does a small minor inside it, which actually happened in terms of like core.js or something like that. And you have to really understand what it needs, what it does. And there was also this particular blindly accepting pull request happened, where I guess it was Donald Trump's website, where he was putting the website thing, like, what do you call this? He was putting the election campaign. So when Donald Trump's website is clicked, it goes to the Hillary Clinton or someone else's website. I'm not sure what is the news about. So that was because of blindly accepting a pull request without knowing what it does.
Okay, and this was from the maintainer side.
In simple terms, don't accept any minified pull request or pull request that doesn't that you don't understand. It's always better to test it very well and look for all these queues. And then if there is something that is unknown, ask why that particular line of code is there. What does it do? There are so many, deobfuscators, which kind of like deobfuscates all the hidden code. So that might help you in these things. So make sure that you run through it and see if the code is readable. And only when you understand the code, then you merge it as a maintainer.
Okay, so this was from the perspective of maintainer. From the perspective of a contributor who is trying to contribute to a big project, is it necessary to understand the whole code, then contribute to a small part of it?
That would be making more sense to understand the complete code, complete product as a complete business of both the product, like business in the sense it's not the money business, but why this product exists in the first place. And then based on that, if you try to add new code or like do a change or something like that, that makes much sense because you understand what the product is for, and then you're adding the code. So for example, once what happened was I got a pull request saying like change all these fonts. There was a big reason. There was like 1 week of discussion before coming to this particular way, like this is how it should be working. People did not see all those things. They are just saying, oh yeah, that looks different, so I want to make it different. Like 1 week of work went for nothing. So that should not be the case. I had to reject, and I also wrote a blog post on LinkedIn or like somewhere saying like how we came up with this kind of a design, why we came up with this kind of a design, and showed it to that person who raised the pull request. Then they understood it. So it should be always better for a contributor to understand why this thing happened. Is there any reason behind it? And then make changes or like stay ahead with the vision of the project as well.
Okay, got it.
Awesome.
Okay, so other than that, I don't think there are any questions from the chat.
I had a lot of things to discuss, but that's completely fine. I'm more than happy, and maybe we can do a part 2 or something in case if there is a possibility. Yeah. And one main thing which I wanted to tell us, as usual, stay home, stay safe, make sure, give more importance to your health, and don't be like me. Back to you, Hardik. Stage is all yours.
Okay, so thank you, Praveen, for joining us and having a great conversation with me and all the audience that we have. And yeah, so to the audience, if you have any questions, any doubts left for now, you can just connect with him over Twitter, over LinkedIn. All the links are in the description. So go ahead and like follow him and connect with him.
Subscribe to my channel.
Also, yeah, subscribe to his channel as well, and also register to Hacking Heist. That's all I want from my side. Yeah, and for the giveaway, if you haven't done this now, just go ahead and take a screenshot and post it on Twitter, tagging Praveen and Hacking Heist. And yeah, you will get a chance to get an exclusive t-shirt from my side and an exclusive MLH. What was that? MLH swag from Praveen's side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. And yeah. Okay. Bye bye everyone. Have a great day. Bye bye.